You ever feel like life is sending you messages at exactly the right moment? Like the universe has this weird way of placing things in your path just when you need them most. Maybe it's a song that plays right when you're thinking about someone, or a book that falls off the shelf with exactly the words you needed to hear. Or maybe it's this video showing up in your feed right now when everything feels heavy and you're wondering if there's something more. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Those moments aren't accidents. They're not random coincidences or lucky breaks. They're breadcrumbs. And right now, if you're watching this, if something pulled you here in this exact moment, there's probably a reason for it. Because what I'm about to share with you isn't just information, it's a perspective shift that could change how you see everything. See, most people go through life thinking they're passengers. They wake up, react to whatever the day throws at them, and go to bed feeling like they survived another round. They're waiting for permission, waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone else to tell them it's okay to want more. But here's what they don't understand. You're not a passenger. You never were. Every single day, you make thousands of micro decisions that shape your reality, where you focus your attention, how you interpret what happens to you, what stories you tell yourself about who you are and what's possible. Most people let these decisions happen on autopilot, and then they wonder why their life feels like it's happening to them instead of for them. But what if I told you that everything you think you know about how life works is backwards? What if the struggle isn't supposed to be the point? What if feeling stuck isn't your natural state? What if there's a way to move through the world where things just start aligning, where opportunities show up out of nowhere, where the right people and situations find you instead of you chasing them? This isn't about manifestation or positive thinking or pretending problems don't exist. This is about understanding something fundamental that most people never figure out. Reality is way more flexible than you think. The walls you see, the limitations you accept, the reasons why things can't work out, most of them exist only because you've agreed they do. Think about it. When you were a kid, before the world taught you what was realistic and what wasn't, you believed in magic. Not because you were naive, but because you hadn't yet learned to see barriers everywhere. You looked at a cardboard box and saw a spaceship. You drew pictures of yourself as a superhero and felt like you could actually fly. Somewhere along the way, you learned to call that imagination and file it away with other childish things. But what if that wasn't imagination at all? What if that was actually you tapping into something real, your natural ability to see beyond what is and into what could be? What if the only difference between then and now is that you've trained yourself to focus on limitations instead of possibilities? Here's where it gets interesting. Every single person who has ever created something meaningful, who has ever broken through to a different level of life, who has ever made the impossible look effortless, they all share one thing in common. They stopped agreeing with the version of reality that said it couldn't be done. They didn't get special powers or secret knowledge. They just refused to accept that the way things are is the way things have to be. And that refusal, that simple shift from this is how it is to this is how it is right now, that's where everything changes. Because the moment you stop treating your current reality as permanent, you open up space for something different to emerge. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being a creator of them. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds great in theory, but what about real problems? What about the economy? What about your past? What about all the reasons why things are difficult? And here's the thing. I'm not saying those things don't exist. I'm saying they don't have to define what's possible for you. See, most people approach problems like they're trying to push through a brick wall. They put their head down, grit their teeth, and try to force their way through. And when it doesn't work, they assume the wall is too strong or they're not strong enough. But what if the wall isn't even real? What if it's just a projection? And the moment you stop pushing against it and start looking for the door, everything shifts. This is how life actually works. The biggest breakthroughs don't come from trying harder. They come from seeing differently. The person who gets the job isn't always the most qualified. It's the one who shows up with a different energy. The relationship that works isn't the one where both people are perfect. It's the one where both people stop trying to control each other. The business that succeeds isn't the one with the most resources. It's the one that solves a problem in a way no one else thought of. And all of these shifts start with the same thing. Someone deciding that the way everyone else sees the situation isn't the only way to see it. Someone choosing to operate from possibility instead of limitation. Someone trusting that there's more available than what's immediately visible. But here's the catch. You can't access this different way of being while you're still holding on to the old one. You can't create something new while you're gripping tightly to what's familiar. And this is where most people get stuck. They want change, but they also want guarantees. They want growth, but they don't want to let go of what's comfortable. They want magic, but they want it to make sense first. Life doesn't work that way. The new thing always requires releasing the old thing. The upgrade always means leaving the previous version behind. And that feels scary because your mind is wired to see change as danger, even when staying the same is what's actually dangerous. Think about every major shift in your life. The job you left, the relationship that ended, the place you moved from. At the time, it probably felt terrifying. You didn't know what was coming next. But looking back now, can you see how that change created space for something better? How what felt like loss at the time was actually clearing the way for what you really needed? That's the pattern. That's how growth works. You don't get the new thing until you release your grip on the old thing. And the universe has this interesting way of creating situations that force you to choose. It'll keep presenting you with the same lesson in different forms until you finally get it. Until you finally trust that letting go doesn't mean losing everything. It means making room for everything that's actually meant for you. And if you're watching this right now, if something about this is resonating, if there's a part of you that knows there's more available than what you're currently experiencing, that's not wishful thinking. That's recognition. That's your inner knowing, confirming what you've always suspected, but maybe never had permission to believe. You're not here by accident. This moment, this awareness, this restlessness you feel about settling for less than what you know is possible. It's all part of something bigger unfolding. And the question isn't whether you're ready for it. The question is whether you're willing to trust it. Because here's what I've learned. Life is always conspiring in your favor, even when it doesn't look that way. Every setback is setting you up for something better. Every closed door is redirecting you toward the right one. Every moment of uncertainty is preparing you for a level of certainty you've never experienced before. The people who figure this out, who learn to dance with change instead of fighting it, who trust the process even when they can't see the outcome, they're the ones who seem to live in a different world. Not because they're special, not because they're lucky, but because they've learned to see what was always there. But here's where it gets even more profound. You think you're ready to step into this new reality, but something strange happens the moment you actually try. Your old patterns start screaming at you. Your comfort zone doesn't just resist change, it declares war on it. Ever notice how the universe seems to test you right when you're about to level up? You decide you're done being broke, and suddenly, every expense hits at once. You commit to better relationships, and toxic people come out of nowhere demanding your attention. You choose peace, and drama finds your doorstep like it has GPS coordinates to your soul. Most people think this is a sign they're going the wrong direction. They think the universe is punishing them for wanting more. But that's backwards thinking. These challenges aren't roadblocks, they're confirmations. They're proof that you're breaking free from the old programming that kept you small. Think of it like this. You've been living in a house with rooms you never knew existed. For years you accepted that your tiny corner was all there was. But now, you're discovering there are entire floors above you, spaces you never imagined. The old version of you is terrified, because expansion means leaving behind everything familiar. Your mind will try every trick to pull you back. It'll whisper that you were happier before, that this new awareness is too much responsibility, that maybe you should just go back to sleep. But once you've seen beyond the veil, there's no unseeing it. Once you know that your thoughts create your reality, you can't pretend they don't. This is where most people get stuck. They taste freedom, but run back to their cage because the cage feels safer. They glimpse their power, but choose powerlessness because it's easier to blame circumstances than take responsibility for creating them. But you're different. You wouldn't be here if you weren't ready for this shift. The fact that these words are reaching you right now isn't coincidence. Your higher self orchestrated this moment because you're ready to stop playing small. Here's what happens. When you fully embrace this truth, life stops feeling like something happening to you and starts feeling like something flowing through you. Synchronicities become your normal. The right people appear at the right time. Opportunities unfold effortlessly. Problems solve themselves before you even worry about them. You realize that struggle was never mandatory. It was just the result of swimming against the current instead of flowing with it. All those years you spent forcing, pushing, and grinding were just resistance to what was trying to emerge naturally. The people who seem to live charmed lives aren't lucky. They're aligned. They stopped fighting reality and started dancing with it. They discovered that when you trust the process starts working for you instead of against you. So here's your choice. You can close this video, go back to your old patterns, and pretend nothing has changed. Or you can take this as the sign you've been waiting for, the nudge from the universe that says it's time to step into who you really are. Because everything you've been through, every setback, every closed door, every moment of doubt has been preparing you for this moment where you finally understand that you're not a victim of your circumstances. You're the author of your story. The question isn't whether you're capable of this transformation. The question is whether you're finally ready to stop settling for less than what's possible. Your breakthrough isn't coming someday. It's available right now, in this moment, if you're brave enough to claim it.